Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live. It is week 24 of the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship, and we're here from the Silverstone National Circuit in the UK. No, I'm not Andrew Woodhouse. He and the guys are away at the Sim Race Expo this weekend, so they've let me loose on the reins. It is Paul Smith here, and joining me on today's broadcast is none other than Connery Maddock, who's in the commentary booth with me. And Connery, Silverstone National, it's a short circuit, just 2.6 kilometres, 6 corners, but with touring cars it's going to be exciting racing.
It definitely is going to be exciting, Paul, and we get to see all the rough and tumble action that touring cars usually bring to us here on Apex Racing TV. As drivers have gone out and set their first qualifying times here, most of them are back down onto the pits to get themselves some fresh rubber and top up with fuel to go back out again. And it is a sub 1 minute lap time for pretty much everyone up and down the field here. It is a very fast lap indeed, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we'll do is just quickly have a look at the standings as they are going into this week. And, well, it is David Baker who's in the lead of the Pro Series, and he is ahead of Stellan Chepulevsky in second. Wojciech Savinovic, third place, the reigning champion, in third with his Apex Racing teammate. Also in fourth place, Richard Gorse, the 3 Apex Racing cars there. Ben Hackerson in fifth with Daniel Kraft in sixth place, and Alex Malinsky just 3 points behind Kraft in 7th place. Nicole Foggy in 8th with Pete Harrod 9th. George Simmons 10th. And then the crucial point, the cut-off for the showdown, guaranteed showdown spots, Michael Hall in 11th. There's just 115 points for him, between him and Kip Stevens and a few of the others as well. So pretty close there in your pro standings, Connery.
Yeah, pretty close indeed, and you think that amount of points, over 100 points, is quite large, but in this series it's not all that much. You can gain over 100 points for a race win, given the right circumstances, and we are on race 87 of 140, so lots of opportunities for the likes of Kip Stevens and McIntyre and later to get themselves into that top 11 or so that will qualify for the showdown. And looking at the AM standings as well, there's Joshua Roberts there, and Roy Verke as well, second place, Stuart Atkinson third, Ross McFarlane, Laura Bond rounding out your top 5 in your AM championship. You also got Stephen Baxter and Andrew Whitehead there rounding out top 7.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still pretty close in your amateur standings. Still opportunities for people to come in there. In the team standings, and it is Apex Racing in first place, just under 400 points ahead of CQRS Line, with CQR Race Hub in third place, that crucial third place for them. Sim in fourth. The amateur championship for teams as well, Boosted, they're in fifth place, but in the lead of the amateur standing, with Northern Lights Racing in sixth. So plenty of action to get on with. We've got about 4.5 minutes remaining of qualifying, and so far, who's caught your eye here today, Connery? David Baker, currently in provisional pole.
Yeah, he is, and that gap stands at around about half a tenth of a second to the next fastest driver in George Simmons right there. And they are both in leagues of their own right now, with David Baker setting at 57.2, George Simmons at 57.3, and the rest of the drivers up into your 7th place driver, Stellan Chepulevsky, they're all in 57.4, so very, very close in and around the top end of your top 10. And looking through the rest of your field, the times are very, very close indeed because of how short this track is.
We're just looking at Alex Katz, 6th place at the moment, and no, Andrew Woodhouse, I'm not going to do any boosted puns for today, because that's your gig and I don't want to nick your gimmick there. Alexander Katz then coming down the Wellington straight in towards Brooklands. He's got a good slipstream from the Northern Lights Racing car in front, and that's a crucial thing with this lap here, Connery, because it's such a fast lap. The slipstream is going to be really crucial.
Yeah, and it kind of has to be timed to perfection as well. If you're trying to slipstream off of what is usually a slower driver in front of you, you may end up catching them by the end of the lap where the slow speed corners are. So you don't really want that. So you have to perhaps work with one of your teammates that you know is a similar speed to you and try and get a little bit of a tow around the track, as these Kias, the draft is very, very effective indeed.
Russell Laidler just completed the lap. He couldn't improve on his times. People coming in for one final pit stop then, it looks like. And this is it. in qualifying, you can't reset the car. If you're new to the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship, you cannot reset your car in qualifying. You have to come back to the pits, take tyres, take any fuel as well, which is what a few of the drivers are doing out there. David Baker actually is on his own. He's got some free air. I don't know whether that's the best tactic to take there, but he is provisionally on pole, so something's working for him, that's for sure. But taking those tyres on the short lap, in fact he's abandoning this lap here, taking those tyres though, you've got ample opportunity to do a couple of tyre stops, because it's such a short lap. You can get a couple of good runs in here.
Yeah, exactly. So if you botch one run, then there's most likely that you'll have a couple of others to try and recover that one. But I think most of the drivers are putting banker laps right now, as we see a whole train coming down the club straight.
Yeah.
Coming into the left-hander here. They're all just trying to give each other space and give each other room on their outlaps, and ends up causing a little bit of a slow train going through those corners.
Well, I've got it on the blimp camera now, and it's just an absolute queue of cars coming into Luffield here. They're all taking that wider entry into it to then get the run out of the corner. And yeah, I was focusing on Wojciech Zvinovic, who's currently in 4th place at the moment in qualifying. Just to give you the top 8 as they stand at the moment. Dave Baker on pole position, only 0.054 ahead of George Simmons, so good showing from George here today. Pete Harrod in 3rd with Wojciech, as I was saying, in 4th. Ross McFarlane, the top amateur driver, in 5th place. Alexander Katz 6th. Stalin Chepelevsky in 7th. And Pete Newman, good to see Pete up there, up in 8th place. And before anyone accuses me of sort of any bias or anything like that, yes, I do race for CQR Race Hub. I'm just getting that bit of official sort of get it out the way so that nobody accuses me of being biased, which I obviously am.
Well, we'll just have to see about that one, Paul, as your drivers heading their way through Luffield Corner now, coming to set there. What's probably going to be their last laps of the qualifying session here. George Simmons will be making his way across line. Can he make pole? And the answer to that will be no, and he won't for the rest of this session, because he won't get another lap. Benjamin Haxon heading his way across line cannot improve either. Neither can Stephen Baxter or Wojciech Savidovic either.
Yeah, people just improving as well. I think Michael's just moved. No, he hasn't. He's not moved up. Really getting towards the end of qualifying here. It's just an interesting one here as the clock ticks down to 0, because as the track rubbers up, as we see George Simmons taking the trip down the international route there, that's not good. Ashley Beard, he's a new driver to the series. Ashley Beard, just coming across the line, 22nd place at the moment, so good showing from him for his first run in the series. Everyone else pretty much finishing the session here, taking it easy, so we hopefully will be able to bring you a grid very shortly. Yeah, drivers are heading in to the pits here, so what we will do then is we will take you through your grid, and Connery, if you want to give us the honours of doing that, please.
Yeah, I will, Paul. And taking pole today will be the driver of David Baker, and joining David Baker on the front row will be George Simmons as well. Then it's going to be Pete Harrod and Wojciech Savidovic on the second row, and then there's going to be Ross McFarlane, Andrew Katz, Stelian Chepelevsky, Pete Newman, Benjamin Haxon and Michael Hall rounding out your top 5 rows of the grid, top 10 on the grid. And it's going to be Alexander Smolensky, Rusty Laidler, Colin Cuniff, Jake Blackhall, Lee Berridge, Richard Gore, Brian J. Holmes, Laura Bond, Nicole Foggy and Sven Glatzel rounding out your top 20.
Yeah, absolutely. Rest of the grid coming through the screen now, like to Stephen Baxter there, Torstein Helgeston, Max Wright down 24th, and then you've got a whole host of cars who couldn't actually set a lap time here as my graphics now decide to stop working. So what we'll do is quickly just get rid of that. So anyway, we're getting ready for the start of this race then, and what's the key to this race then? You've raced around here, Connery. What do you think is the key to getting a good result here?
Yeah, I in fact race around here in the Kia World Series, which is a little bit of a different skill level to what these guys are usually running at. These guys are usually way above that one. But I think the key to survival is just to survive the first lap here. It is a short lap. It's going to be bumper-to-bumper action throughout your field with the 48 cars that we have in the session today. And I think, as I've said, surviving the first couple of laps is going to be paramount.
Yeah, absolutely. You see the front row there. David Baker, George Simmons, Pete Harrod right behind them as well, and just waiting for the last few drivers to get onto the grid here, and then we'll be all set for 15 laps of the Silverstone National Circuit. Basically everybody from 36 down could not qualify for the start of this race. And well, Conrad, what we'll do is we'll hand it over to yourself for the start of this race then.
Yep, as we're just waiting for drivers to get themselves to the grid here, we are just waiting for a couple more to get their cars situated in their grid spots for this standing start. As are we still waiting for a couple more? We are, I believe, and there's a... Well, we've got around about 20 seconds to go before we get this race started. It'll be a very interesting run coming down in towards Copse here. It's usually a single line corner coming through there. But can they get single file before the start of that corner? We will just have to see. Just a couple more seconds before the green flag comes out here.
Yep, drivers all set. Just Dave Christie missing from the grid. So, yeah, Connery, take us away.
Here we go. Engines rev. And away we go in the BSRTC. It's a fantastic start for your pole sitter David Baker, but Joe Simmons gets a good second phase of the start here. He cannot quite make it around the outside of Copse. Meanwhile, it's 3 wide behind there with Ross McFarlane stuck on the inside there. Stefan Chepkevsky between those two, and as those two Apex Racing UK drivers fall back, Andreas Katz now coming under threat from Pete Newman coming down into the maggot section. There's actually side-by-side for your race lead. There goes David Baker defending his position from George Simmons. Pete Harrod also getting himself involved as they come onto Club Straight.
I believe we've got a car stopped as well. I believe it's Ashley Beard. He's had all sorts of a nightmare. He's spun around there at the back, and well, around he goes. George Simmons though down the inside then in towards the end of the start of this first lap here. It's going to be fast and furious. Dave Baker trying to hold on to that lead. He's got the inside line for Luffield here, and look at that behind him. Pete Harrod trying to sneak through, and well, Wojciech Savinovic, 4th place. He's just sat back at the moment. He's wanting to see how this one pans out.
Yes, he does, as they head side-by-side across the line. 4P number 1, David Baker and Joe Simmons again, still trying to take it side-by-side through Copse. Pete Harrod will stick his nose in there as his door rubbing coming through Copse for George Simmons and David Baker. Somehow they survive it, and they head side-by-side coming down into the maggot section right now. It's going to be battle of the late breakers perhaps coming down into here. David Baker has the favourable line coming through maggots here, as there's more side-by-side behind going between Savinovic and Ross McFarlane there. A little bit of carnage on this first lap as Joe Simmons runs a bit wide over the white line there. Will lose the challenge for the position for P number 1 coming down onto the brakes for the next corners. Pete Harrod maybe looking for an opportunity here. He's thinking about it. He sticks his nose in. He has the space there, but not able to capitalize it. He taps the back bumper. Yeah,
he does, and well, you could get away with that in touring car racing. A little bit of rubbing is fine. Ben Hackerson, actually, he's trying to make the move down the inside of Ross McFarlane around Luffield, and he's going to make that move stick as they go down the inside of Woodcut once again. We're already at the end of lap 2, start of lap 3, and they're still side by side as they go across the line. And that's the beauty of the national circuit here. You can basically spend the whole lap just side by side with each other. Baker and Simmons, they're still pretty close, but they're as you were, but Hackerson has finally made that move stick on McFarlane, but McFarlane still trying to get past. We've got side by side further back as well. I believe that's Stalin Chepolevsky was side by side. Yes, he is. Oh, and into the back of 35. Who's that's Lee Berridge. Brian Holmes there, another one of the newcomers to the series. Good to see new drivers coming into the series at this stage of proceedings. And look at this further. Stalin Chepolevsky, where can he go? Because this car's just side by side all the way through the field here.
Yep, and 3 wide coming into left field here between Pete Newman and Ross McFarlane, and that was also the driver Benjamin Haxon as actually they go off into the gravel at left field there. It's going to be Ross McFarlane contact near the front of your field. This is going to be for P number 6, 7, and 8, and Pete Newman also involved in that one. I have to see if Andreas Katz had a little bit of damage. No, his car seems to be fine, but that's not what those drivers wanted, as there's a 4-car breakaway now at the front.
Yeah, we're looking at the replay of that, and I'll tell you what, Ross McFarlane's in a very difficult position there. He's in the middle of the 2 cars on the run through Luffield there, so definitely tough for him. George Simmons getting a great run for the race lead here. David Baker and George Simmons side by side for that race lead. This front 4 just making a little bit of a breakaway from Ben Hackerson behind. Well, as they're heading down towards Brooklands once again, Simmons has got the outside line. If he can hang it around the outside there, he's going to have the inside line for Luffield and crucially Copse.
Yeah, could be absolutely crucial as 2 abreast they go down in towards the left-hander here, as also Svojtech Savidovic tries to make his way around Pete Harrod. Is it still by side for the race lead here? And yes, George Simmons has the inside line for Luffield, but can he make it still? A little bit of tapping of doors there coming on the exit of the corner. It's absolutely fantastic first couple of laps from your top drivers here. Side by side, P1, 2, 3, 4. Absolutely
fantastic from these guys, and it just goes to show what level of racing you get here in the BSRTC. You can see there from above how close the drivers are, and even Hackerson and Katz going side by side. Oh, a little bit of barging there, Savinovic and Harrod, and Harrod's been pushed out wide, so that's going to allow Savinovic through, and that's just allowing Hackerson and the rest of this queue of traffic to catch right back up to your lead 4 here.
Yeah, that's just one of those things. Side by side isn't really the fastest way to go around the racing circuit, and allows drivers that are not battling behind you to try and catch right back up to your rear bumper, as Andreas Katz tries down the inside of Benjamin Hackerson here, coming down into this left-hander up just before left field, as actually the advantage will switch to Benjamin Hackerson when it comes towards left field. But look at them, they're absolutely nose to tail coming through here. Nothing to separate all of your drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, just looking down my timing sheet here, 1st to 28th are covered by 10 seconds. It's absolutely crazy. It's battling side by side as well further down. Cesar Rizzo and also, I believe that's Lee Diemer. Is it? Oh, bang! Into the side of Diemer goes Rizzo. Around he goes. He's not going to like that. He'll have a few choice words to say about that, that's for sure. Savinovic has caught right up to Simmons here through Beckett's. And you've also got Hackerson and Katz pretty close together. And Wojciech looking down the inside here, late on the brakes there. Oh, well, that's a champion's move right there. Late on the brakes, takes that position, 2nd place.
Yeah, easily done for him, as George Simmons still tries to look for a play on Svidovic, but Svidovic isn't having any of it as we come across to complete lap 6 onto lap 7 of this race right now, as the field is starting to get a little strung out just a little bit as this race goes by. It's a very, very short race indeed, 15 laps only. We're on lap number 7 already as the field start to head their way through Copse. No one side by side just for the moment. A couple of cars are having trouble getting their way through that corner. Slian Chaplevsky had a bunch of understeer coming through Copse, which is not what you want going through that high-speed corner, but he seems to be okay down there in what is 11th place, but he did start 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at the gap there, it just goes to show. I've got the gaps here up on screen. Less than 0.2 of a second between Chapelevsky and Holmes as they're heading down the club straight once again, and really, it's just close racing all the way through. And drivers can't. Oh, Dan Hunt, he's had an incident. We'll try and get a replay of that here for you. It's coming into Beckett's, and who's that going to be with? Is it going to be with anybody, or has he lost it himself? Down the inside of Beckett's. Oh, and there's the quarter panel right there. Who's number 31? Is that Rob Graham? Yes, it is. Rob Graham collecting Dan Hunt there further down. So Hunt has dropped all the way back to 47th for this 48-car field.
Yeah, that's an absolutely a shame for him, as we do return to live pictures now. Looking at the front of your field, David Baker still trying to defend from the cars behind him, the likes of Wojciech Savidovic and George Simmons there. Pete Harrod has just been sitting here, just biding his time here, just probably looking for when to strike later on in this race when the opportunity arises. They're absolutely nose to tail coming through what is going to be Brooklands corner.
Yeah, Hackerson and Katz getting into it. and Hackerson. Oh, there's a little quad battle. It's 3 wide going on the exit at Luffield here. Hackerson's run out wide, and Hackerson now, he finding himself in that difficult position. Where does he go? He's in the middle of the sandwich. It's a CQR and Apex sandwich, and Katz goes, do you know what? I'm getting out the way. I'm off track here. He's taken to the grass, back onto the track at Cops. They're still side by side. There's plenty of runoff there. Hall and Hackerson still going side by side, and Katz is going to be the big loser out of this one because Hall has just made it in front. Or has he? He's going to squeeze down. Oh, very close. Hackerson, fantastic card control from him there. Able to hold on to it, and here comes Rusty Laidler, ever the opportunist. He's seen a position here, and it's all just going to chaos now at the back end of the top 10 here, Connery.
Yeah, I think Andreas Katz was just thinking he'd rather take the 1x instant point than have a very, very big instant. Is looking at the front of your field. There's a huge amount of brake smoke there coming down into Brooklands. I think there's Wojciech Savidovic maybe trying to make move on David Baker, but it didn't end up working out as they head their way through left field. Right now, side by side back in your field, though, and Alexander Smolensky, the number 6 car, battling with Colin Cunniff coming through the final corner of what is going to be left field. As actually Cunniff is just going to lose all momentum on the exit of the corner, and there's the Apex Racing UK driver of Stelian Czepleski looking for an opportunity down the inside of Kopp. Surely not, as he's not going to make that move stick, and he'll just try and get the momentum off the corner instead. And meanwhile, Colin Cunniff basically just giving a little bit of a bump there to Alexander Smolensky coming off the corner, just telling him to hurry up, basically.
And behind those two, here's Holmes and Foggy. Holmes, new to the series, he's showing himself well here so far, up in 13th place, but side by side with Foggy, who's been lightning this season. He's been a revelation for the NLR team, the Northern Lights Racing, heading down towards Brooklands once again, and they're still side by side as they're headed into there. And my mind goes back to, well, it goes back to the Winter Series when we had, I think it was an entire lap of the entire last lap of the race lead was side by side to the end. So. This circuit, this national circuit at Silverstone, does produce good racing, and Foggy has just now sneaked ahead of Holmes.
Yep, he has, and let's see some more of that fantastic racing, please. Maybe another side-by-side lap for the race lead at the end of this race. Who knows? As looking down your field, there's a battle brewing between like sort of 53 Stuart McFadden and Pete Newman here as they head their way down into Maggots. But Pete Newman not going to have an opportunity, I don't think. Is a good ball.
To the pits, by the way. He's obviously had an instant here, and he's off. So he's out this one. Pete Newman, of course, was one of those who was affected by that one with Ross McFarlane. He's got damage to his front right, and well, the cars are further. Oh, in fact, he's letting a car through there. He's letting Stephen Baxter through. So I think Pete may be pushing the instant limit here.
He could well be, of course. This track can be a little bit stingy on the 1Xs, especially coming out of Cops. If you run wide onto that runoff, you do get a 1X, and the drivers just have to be a little careful of track extending there. That may also pique the interest of the marshals and the stewards, as well as the front of the field head their way through there just fine. But does Svidovic have the run here on your race leader and David Baker? He does, but he doesn't find the gap coming into Maggots, so he just has to brake a little bit harder and just stay behind for now. But how long can he stay behind? That is the question. He looks for the run coming off of the corner here onto the club straight, and he's going to just sit in that slipstream, which is oh so crucial in these Kias. And will he dive one down the inside coming into Brooklands? Defensive inside line taken by David Baker on the entry to the corner, as also George Simmons drags the brakes in quite far as well to close himself up to the bumper of Svidovic. Svidovic almost hits the back bumper of David Baker coming through this section. Yeah,
it was, and that was all because David Baker got a terrible exit to Cop's corner. And that just brought Savinovic, Simmons and Harrod into that one. So it is, let's have a look at the top 8 then. David Baker in the lead of this one, but only just ahead of Wojciech Savinovic in second place. George Simmons third with Pete Harrod fourth. And then there's a little bit of a gap then back to Michael Hall in fifth with Alexander Katz in sixth. Ben Hackerson 7th, and Russell Laidler rounds out the top 8, but there's battling all the way. I'm sorry we can't show everything that's going on. In fact, let's have a quick look back, because Simmons tried to get a bit of a run there, but wasn't able to carry the speed. So let's have a look back. Lee Berridge is at the front of a queue of traffic here. Richard Gorse, Flynn Gatzel, Jake Blackall, Laura Bond as well as tagging onto the rear of that one. This is all battling for 14th place.
Yeah, fantastic battling all throughout your field here at the Silverstone National Circuit as they head their way, this little group actually head their way down onto the brakes in towards Brooklyn's corner, but no changes for position just yet. But look how just close they are, nose to tail coming through here. It's real touring car stuff as they actually go on, Paul.
Speaking of touring car stuff, Alex Everett and Torstein Helgeson side by side going through Luffield. They've got Dan Kraft ahead of them. 2 laps remaining, not long left in this race. It's flown by as this first one. It's been action packed, and look at this then. Helgeson, Everett still side by side. Finally they decide between themselves who's going to be ahead of who, and that's all battling over 25th and 26th place. So the battle's going on as Daniel Kraft actually trying to make his way past Will Tregurtha as they head into Maggots and Beckett's. But we're going to move forward now, attention forward to that lead battle, and we're going to be coming into the final lap here, and Wojciech Savinovic, he's meaning business here, Connery.
Yep, he really is, and he's not going to be content with staying behind for all that much longer, especially when the white flag will be out this time, and the next time will be the checkered flag as well. So it's going to be a do-or-die move, perhaps, for Wojciech Savinovic. But do you want to be doing that, especially when points are a factor here at the sharp end of your field? And he doesn't get a good enough run really coming out of left field corner, coming onto the final lap. He needs more, especially in this first sector, coming through Copse, and not really a great run through Copse either. This just puts him under threat from George Simmons. And now what David Baker needs is George Simmons to try and make a move on Savinovic here, because that pretty much secures him the race win.
Certainly would do that as they're heading on to the back straight now. And it's still Baker in front. We saw how good Savinovic is on the brakes. This is going to be his last opportunity then. Throw it down the inside into Brooklands. He's got the slipstream, but he's not quite close enough as we've got just 2 more corners to go then. Luffield and Woodcock. David Baker having to take a compromised line. Oh, contact behind Simmons, and Harrod Simmons carries on. He's okay, but coming out that last corner now of Luffield, and it's going to be David Baker taking race 1 victory here. Good driving from David Baker. He led from the front there. Savinovic in second. Simmons and Harrod come across the line 3rd and 4th. Looking down your order, Richard Gore only 0.2 of a second behind Lee Berridge in the end. And still we've got battling going on. McIntyre and also McFarlane going across the line then. That's over 29th there. They finish their race as well. And well, that was breathless. That was excitement from start to finish, and that was without a reverse grid. We've got a reverse grid races for the rest of this evening. Great racing from those drivers today.
Absolutely brilliant racing, and I may need to take a little bit of a break to get my heart rate down after that. And wow, that was an absolutely brilliant race, especially from those guys at the front for keeping it mostly clean apart from the end there between George Simmons and Pete Harrod, but they end up finishing in the same positions as they entered the final corner, so you can't really complain about that. But yeah, we've got 3 more races to go, Paul. I don't know how much more I can take.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go through then the race results here for that first race of the evening. Of course, 4 races in an evening in the BSRTC, and it is David Baker who takes the win for CQRS line. Just 0.354 ahead of Wojciech Savinovic in second place. George Simmons in third for Boosted. That's a really good result for them, with Pete Harrod in fourth after a little bit of contact going into the final corner. And well, the rest of your field, you've got Michael Hall, Andreas Katz 5th and 6th, Ben Hackerson, Rusty Laidler 7th and 8th, and Alexander Smolenski and Colin Cunniff the top 10. The rest of them are going through your screen, and well, notable names of drivers who started near the back. If we look at those, you've got people like Will Tregurtha and Daniel Kraft. They started 36th and 38th. They finished 23rd and 24th in that one. Alex Everett 44th to 25th. Fantastic racing from him to move through the field, and we've still got more drivers coming through here on your results screen. And well, it is a big old field, 48 cars in this one. Ross McFarlane, where did he end up in this one? He ended up way down, didn't he? 31st he finished. Was it 31st for him? No, it wasn't. It was 30th for him after that incident between him and Pete Newman. And well, just one driver not finishing that race, and that was Josh Thompson, who I believe, thank you to him on the YouTube chat, let us know that he got a meatball flag in that race. Well, looking fantastic race. I don't know how you can round that one up, really.
No, I don't know either, and just one driver not finishing the race just shows a fantastic rate of attrition as well, especially considering how many cars in the circuit, how touring car racing tends to be like. It's just great to see, and I can't wait for the next one.
And well, we've got the reverse grid coming up here, and looking at the likes of people who could get the reverse grid, you got Thorstein Helgesen, 26. That's the lowest number that we could have on the wheel. Lee Diemer is the highest number that could be on the wheel, and of course, if we do get a full reverse grid, Ashley Beard would be the one who gets the full reverse grid. So for the first time tonight, what we will do is we will, it's a moment I've been waiting for, Connery. It really is. Let's bring up the magic wheel, the spinning wheel, and let's give it a go. Get the music playing, and we will see how that one goes. It's a good strong spin from that one, and it's counted down now. Who will it be? It's going to be a relatively small one, 28. So who is that on pole position there, Connery?
That is going to be Scott Malcolm on pole position there, and Jack Mike just missing out on that reverse grid. He has to start exactly where he was, but then Stuart Atkinson is going to join Scott Malcolm on the front row. So
absolutely. So there you go. It's going to be an interesting one, relatively small reverse grid for the field, but going to produce some exciting racing. That was only race one. We've got 3 more races to go here on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live, and we'll be back for the second and third races very shortly.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder what's it going to feel like. It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshields at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Welcome back to the BSRTC here on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live. Paul Smith, Connery Maddock here, and what a fantastic first race we had there just a few moments ago. And well, it is race 2 now. It's the first of the reverse grids, and Connery, it's going to be interesting because it's not the biggest reverse grid, so a few of our top drivers here will be trying to work their way through to get a good result in the second race.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the worst. Reverse grid for your front runners like David Baker and Simmons and Smolensky, Glatzel and others. So they won't be too worried. There's a little bit less traffic than they would have to deal with otherwise. But again, it's going to be quite tough to get through on that traffic. And remember, after this race, we have 2 more races where a full reverse grid can happen, and maybe all sorts of things can happen with surprise winners and such in those sorts of races.
And we saw in that first race as well just how tricky overtaking is around this track, and as we can see on the track circuit map there, really the only overtaking opportunities are into Beckett's, which is a bit of a tricky overtake, and then down the long back Wellington straight in towards Brooklands, and then possibly getting the run through Luffield into Copse as well. There is overtaking all the way through, but it's very difficult to do it.
There's overtaking opportunities all the way through, but There's not really any places where you can completely overtake, which is why we see so much side-by-side racing, because once you have the inside for one corner, the advantage switches quite quickly. That's the case coming down into the brakes into Brooklands, and also coming down into Copse, and then coming down through Maggots, you got that little left-hand kink. Also, that could play a factor as well after that corner. So, a very, very tricky place to overtake, but the opportunity to overtake is abundant.
Okay, well, Connery, the warm is finishing now, so the driver's been getting used to the conditions. Slightly warmer for the second race, so why don't you take us through the grid when it counts down to 0, so it actually gives you a grid there. So yeah, Connery, why don't you take us through the grid then?
Yep, your reverse grid pole will be Scott Malcolm there in that number 27 machine. Stuart Atkinson will be joining him on the front row. You got Thorstein Helgeson and Alex Everett on the second row there. Daniel Kraft, Will Tregurtha lining up P5, P6. Max Wright, Pete Newman, Stephen Baxter, and Laura Bond will round out your top 10 on the grid as it stands. Then you've got Stuart McFadden, Sven Glatzel, Jake Blackhall, Richard Gore, Lee Berridge, P15, and then Brian J. Holmes, P number 16, Nicole Foggy, Stelian Chepleski, Colin Cuniff, and Alexander Smolensky rounding out your top 20. And then down the field, you got the likes of Benjamin Haxon, Andreas Katz. You've also got Pete Harrod in 25th there. Svojtech Shavidovic, P number 27, you'll have to start from. And your previous race winner will have to start from P number 28. And then the rest of your field back down beyond the P number 28 is as the results were for your first race here this evening.
There will be a few pit starts, and I do apologise, my grid graphics didn't work, but Connery, take it away.
Yep, drivers already revving their engines. There's a couple of people didn't take to their pit stalls because of penalties, and off and away we go. Fantastic start there for Stuart Atkinson, at least in the first fade, but maybe a little bit of dodgy gear shift has stunted his momentum a bit coming down into the first corner. Also a good start for Thorstein Helgeson, side-by-side for the race lead coming down into Copse corners. Also further side-by-side and even 3 wide behind between Daniel Kraft, Thorstein Helgeson as they turn into 2 wide coming out of Copse corner there as the field just starts to jostle a little bit, coming on their way down towards the Maggots and Beckett section. Now 3 wide back in your field. Laura Bond in the sandwich there between Lee Berridge and another Apex Racing UK driver. There's a little bit of bumper banging going on in the background there as well, as they're absolutely side by side all throughout the field coming down the club straight.
Scott Malcolm wants his lead back again. Yeah, he's wanting that position. Look at this, Daniel Kraft wanting to come through as well. So too is Pete Newman. So Newman's trying to make up for a bad first race on Atkinson, Malcolm, side by side. They're battling for the lead, and here comes Kraft then, trying to get the better run. He's going to try and make it 3 wide. That's not maybe the wisest thing to do. He slots in behind Stuart Atkinson as they go across the line for the first lap. It is, well, it's Atkinson and Malcolm absolutely together across the line through Copse corner. Malcolm's going to carry the speed, and that's going to take him into the lead of this race, Connery.
There was a huge concertina effect coming through Copse as your, previous race leader, Stuart Atkinson, had to brake way too hard for Copse. Had just checked everyone up behind 3 wide coming into Maggots here. So there's a car off into the gravel there. That's the 49er of Max Wright taking an off-track excursion there. But yes, it's going to be Scott Malcolm to the pointy end of this field. Side by side for second place though between Daniel Kraft and Stuart Atkinson. And I think Atkinson may lose yet another position here, bringing him down into P3. And he's also under threat from Pete Newman as well, as deep on the brakes as the driver behind. That was Sven Glatzel there, making the most of the opportunity, making the most of the open door that Stuart Atkinson had on his inside, as Sven Glatzel trying to force his way around the outside as further contact is almost turns there with Sven Glatzel, but manages to keep it pointed in the right direction as they head to complete lap 2.
Yeah, it certainly does, as we've got drivers falling down the order. Selin Chepelevsky, oh look at this pack further back. Chepelevsky must have a slow down penalty. He's dropping down the order fast, so too is Thorstein Helgeson as well. He's got a slow down penalty, but you look at that mid-pack there, it's just absolute chaos through there. How they're all able to keep going, I do not know. It's absolutely carnage. Do you know what? I think I'm actually glad that I'm in the safety of the commentary box today.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the case. I for sure wouldn't want to be out there with the amount of cars and how little there is in terms of space here. These drivers seem to be coping very, very well, as it's almost 3 wide coming down the club straight here, but it will just be 2 wide between Benjamin Haxon and Nicole Foggy coming down into Brooklands corner. As Benjamin Haxon gets on the marbles on the outside on the entries of the corner there. That's not going to do his ties any good. Side by side behind them though, between Rusty Laidler and George Simmons. Simmons on the inside line here. He's made his way up all the way into P number 16 already. P. That's a fantastic start for your previous race, previous second-place driver.
And, well, we've had a change of position at the lead as well. Daniel Kraft is into the lead as we'll carry on watching Simmons and Laidler going side by side. Oh, there's a little bit of bumping. Simmons just seemed to get into the side of Laidler. And how on earth has Laidler held on to that one? That is incredible car control there. When a driver quarter paneling him there down this pit straight. Not seen that for a long time, but yeah, it is Kraft and Newman at the front of the field. McFadden and Baxter are battling away for position. This is for 7th and 8th as they're going down that back straight. Baxter with a little bit of damage. McFadden, a little bit of damage on the front of his car. Brian Holmes trying to get involved in this one in the 111 car into the left-hander at Brooklands. And it's going to be McFadden who gets that place from Baxter, but well, there's all sorts going on. Blackall and also Smolensky side by side as well.
Yep, they are as they head their way through left field, but I think Smolensky is going to come out on top of this particular battle, at least for now, as there's more side-by-side action going on ahead of them between George Simmons and Rusty Laidler. Simmons going to pinch him towards the inside of Woodcut there. That was questionable there by George Simmons as they head side-by-side, almost rubbing doors here, coming down into Copse Corner. Rusty Laidler will have the inside line, but can George Simmons hang around the outside? Almost contact on the exit of the corner there, but George Simmons will just have to fall behind just for now as they head into Maggots here. There's a huge amount of pack racing going up front in your top 10 here, almost 3 wide between Stuart McFadden, Stephen Baxter and Stuart Atkinson as well as they head down through club.
Yeah, we're just looking at that now. It's difficult to look where to look next. Malcolm and Glatzel as well. They're close, 3 wide into Brooklands, and they're all going to manage it. Look at that, McFadden and also Baxter went either side of Atkinson there. Atkinson's just trying to get a good, decent result here. And, well, Brian Holmes now battling away with Stuart Atkinson for that 8th place as they go around Woodcote once again. And Holmes, he's just got a nose in front at the moment, but it's still side by side. Atkinson now, it's got Richard Gore, the Apex Racing UK driver, trying to go around the outside of Atkinson as well. Absolutely fantastic racing, and you know what? Everybody's still running in this race as well.
Yeah, that is just absolutely insane to see with the how close these drivers are running and how many of them are still out there on track. And again, there's a side-by-side between what was going to be Richard Gore and Stuart Atkinson, and there's side-by-side behind them as well between Andreas Katz and what is going to be the driver of Laura Bond is actually, yes, ahead of them. The Brian J. Holmes pinch towards driver's left-hand side of the track on the brakes coming down into Brooklands here, and I think he will just get the move defended there from Stephen Baxter. But that was a little bit naughty there. Yeah,
it was pinching him off the road there, but he had 2 wheels on the track surface at all times, so Baxter had to give him the space, and he goes through. Katz and Atkinson now. Atkinson's just dropping down the order from starting 2nd place on the grid. He's dropping down now. He's down to 11th place in this race. He's got Laura Bond behind now in the Pro-Sim car, but she's got Nicole Foggy behind. There's a battle for P number 4. That is Berridge and Malcolm, and it's going to be Berridge who makes that move on Malcolm, but he runs deep on the brakes there, and Malcolm's going to take the advantage here down the inside, try and get the run down the club straight, and just look at this, it's where, so look, oh, there's a car really going wide behind. That was Hackerson running way out off track as they head down the club straight now onto the brakes. Berridge, Malcolm, McFadden in there as well. And, well, the 2 teammates, so let's hope they don't crash into each other. McFadden and Malcolm keeping it clean. 9 laps remaining in this one already.
Yeah, time really does fly when you're having fun, and I bet these drivers are having fun with also the increased heart rate in the chests right now with this fantastic racing going on. It's actually Stuart McFadden has to lift out of it to avoid running into the back of his teammate. Now going onto the brakes into Copse, getting close to running into the back of his teammate. There's actually contact from behind. Brian J. Holmes running into the back of the Scotsman. They'll actually take it side by side coming up into Maggots.
We've got cars running well wide at Copse Corner as well. Atkinson is one of them. And obviously some shenanigans going on into Copse Corner. They were all packed together 2-3 wide out of Luffield, and well, this pack it's fist fights. It's just flat out fist fights. There's no gloves on this one, that's for sure. They're still going along, and Hackerson trying to get back past Smolensky, but Smolensky's going to stay ahead, and here comes Colin Cunniff now. Down the outside, he's going to have the inside for Luffield. We've got side by side in front as well, Rusty Laidler and George Simmons. He can't separate those two.
Yeah, you could say the gloves are off, but I don't think the gloves are even on in the first place with the way these guys are racing. As Katz and Baxter head side by side coming through Woodcut Corner to come on to lap number 9. They will remain side by side coming down into Copse. Is very deep on the brakes go down. Andreas Katz and Stuart McFadden getting huge tank slapper, has to push very, very wide through Copse. Luckily, there's a lot of tarmac runoff there. As actually, I think that might be a disqualification for Stuart McFadden due to incident points. That is an absolute shame for him. He will just have to sit out the rest of this race and also not be part of any reverse grid next time by, so he'll have to start right at the back as it's 2x2x2 coming through Maggots now onto the club straight in just outside your top 10 here. Stuart Atkinson and Nicole Foggy heading side by side, and Rusty Laidler, George Simmons still trying to make his way through the field, but he hasn't made that many more positions up than we last saw him.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely gloves off racing, and these guys, tell you what, the guys and girls out there providing brilliant action. By the way, Sven Glatzel at the front has moved up into second place, but he's 1.7 seconds behind Daniel Kraft. In fact, we'll bring up your top 8 there. It's Daniel Kraft in the lead, Sven Glatzel in second place with Pete Newman third, Lee Berridge in fourth with Brian Holmes up into fifth place. Malcolm and Katz, they're swapping positions as I speak between them, and in fact Malcolm's dropping down.
Huge slide through Copse. That was Benjamin Hackerson, number 13, further contact on the exit as well, and that was Colin Cunniff just running into the back of number 13 driver coming into Copse. The heavy impact with the inside Armco barrier there from Hackerson. Yeah,
we're just going to get a replay of that up on screen. We've not had many chances to do replays today. He got I think it was just maybe a contact going into Copse, but certainly made contact once and then twice with Cunniff, and that's dropped them down the field there. Gore and Malcolm, they're battling away, and I tell you what, all this battling going on, and you know what, I'm disappointed to say Russell Laidler has actually got away from George Simmons, because I thought they were going to be like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, who were going to fight forever there, but they've managed to separate themselves for the time being at least, as Daniel Hunt's dropping down the order. What's happened to Hunt there?
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, he's down on towards pit road, so not entirely sure what's happened to him. Yeah, we'll just try and rewind the tapes here to try and have a look what happened to the number 37. Oh, is that a dodgy downshift in the Kia then?
Yeah, it's a downshift. Brian Holmes, Andreas Katz will go back live once again. They're side by side now. This is a battle for fifth place. The Katz doing a fantastic job of moving through this field. He started 23rd. And he's going to take that fifth place, is he, down the outside? But Holmes has got that preferred line in towards Brooklands. And just behind them, Stephen Baxter as well. So these two, they're just going to fight. And finally, I think Katz is just going to get ahead, is he? Well, Holmes is staying there, Connery.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely not giving up this position as they head their way through Woodcut now, but that momentum is just going to go away from Brian J. Holmes, as it is a right-hand kink there coming through there, but no, he's going to go down onto the brakes coming into Copse Corner, and Stephen Baxter is here just watching and waiting this battle. If there's any incident between these two, he's definitely going to be one to stick his nose in there as they head still side by side. I have to find another term than side-by-side, Paul, because I don't think this is cutting it.
No, it's not. Baxter's going to throw it down the inside here at Brooklands. He's trying his best. We're on board with him here. He's in 7th place at the moment, and these two still side by side. They'll be side by side all the way through this last lap. Katz and Holmes, and it's great racing. It's good to see Brian Holmes getting involved in this one. Katz runs it. Now, he's wanted that position. He wanted to run out wide to get the inside line for the next two corners, and that is exactly what Andreas Katz has got here. And you know what? Baxter's going to try and follow through. They're still side by side as we come to the end of this lap once again. And you know what? I think these two are trying to beat Russell Laidler and George Simmons for the side-by-side racing today.
Yep, that was pretty much side-by-side throughout the entire lap, and it's going to end as they come into the entry to Copse. But again, it just be a switch of which side the drivers are on in the side-by-side. That's probably going to go on here. But nope, Brian J. Holmes trying to find any gap that appears over the Apex Racing UK driver in front of him. As all horrible run coming through Maggots, and a little bit of a tap to the back bumper from Brian J. Holmes to Andreas Katz. And Katz is just safe for now, as I'm trying to think of cat puns at some point during this race. But yeah, Stephen Baxter also here on the end of this train as well, and there's also Richard Gore also looking to get himself involved as well.
Laura Bond, Russell Laidler battling it out into Brooklands. This is for 10th place, and Bond has had to get on the brakes a little bit there just to try and avoid Laidler, so she loses that 10th place now. Gives him a little bit of a love tap, so hey, you know, I'm still here, I want that position back. But Nicole Foggy is right behind Laura as they're heading through Woodcut once again. 2 laps remaining in this race. It's Daniel Kraft in the lead, this one still by 1.5 seconds, so you're not missing anything at the front of your field there. So we'll focus here on these battles then, partway through your top 10. I mean, you look at this queue of cars here. Russell Laidler down to Michael Hall, 10th to 16th altogether on track here.
Yeah, it is fantastic to see as there's side-by-side between Smolensky and George Simmons heading their way through. Magnussen and Beckett's here. There's a little bit of contact ahead of them between the drivers of Rusty Laidler, Laura Bond, and Nicole Foggy. Is actually Rusty Laidler swerving to driver's right-hand side of the track there. Luckily that these guys have spotters. I think he may, yes, he has to the front end of that Kia. So Rusty Laidler has damage. Does Laura Bond have damage perhaps to the rear end of that car? But yep, that's dented in there. So those two drivers have come together at some point over the course of this race as they head their way through left field.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting the last lap then across the line, Daniel Kraft, we've hardly spoken about him. He got to the front pretty early on and he's controlled things there out front. But look at this battle now. Katz has caught up to Lee Berridge for 4th place on the start of this last lap. It's going to be a crucial one for Apex Racing UK to get those points as they looking towards the showdown at the end of the season. Oh, and Berridge runs wide, and there goes Katz through. The pressure is countered and Katz is through up into 4th place as we're heading on to the second half of the lap, and it's it's Bond and Foggy.
Yeah, it is, and it's maybe another move at the front for P number 4, which is going to be, yes, it actually is Lee Berridge trying to make his way down the inside of Brooklands corner, but there's still no opportunity, and he's going to tuck right against the rear bumper of Andreas Katz coming through left field, but still no opportunity arising as we're heading onto the white flag lap.
Yeah, well, no, that's the end of the race. Daniel Kraft is through. That's how quick the race goes. Kraft is through to take the win then. Berridge ends up in 5th place then in the end, ahead of Katz. Brilliant racing once again all the way down the field. Looking further down, I'm trying to find some detail. Oh, look at this battle. Adam McNally, Matthew Keeber, Kip Stevens involved in there as well. Across the line they go. And wow, you could throw a towel over them. They were that close between, 6 cars there in the end. Great racing with those. Josh Thompson here behind Will Tregurtha. They're going to come round in 37th and 38th place there. Oh, again, reverse grid race. You always get this sort of action with reverse grid racing, Connery. But good win there for Daniel Kraft in the end.
Yeah, it really was. And I was mentioning earlier on that time flies when you're having fun. Apparently it flies so fast that you forget when the end of the race is. So apologies for that one. But yeah, fantastic run for Andreas Katz though. P23 on the grid, up into P number 3, almost a podium finish for the number 36 driver. But meanwhile, the drivers that have finished quite far up in your first race, like David Baker, who won the previous race, only good enough for 19th. There's a gain of about 9 positions there for David Baker. But meanwhile, you've got the likes of Andreas Katz only started a few positions on the grid ahead of him, all the way up in 4th place.
We'll go through the results then here on this one, and that was a fantastic race. And it is Daniel Kraft who wins this one ahead of Sven Glatzel in 2nd place, Pete Newman 3rd with Andreas Katz in 4th, Lee Berridge 5th with Brian Holmes in 6th, Stephen Baxter 7th, Richard Gore in 8th, Scott Malcolm 9th, Russell Laidler rounding out your top 10. Only 10 seconds covering the top 10 there, so we're really close battling throughout the front of the field. Nicole Foggy then in 11th with George Simmons 12th, Laura Bond 13th ahead of Alexander Smolensky in 14th, Stuart Atkinson 15th with Michael Hall 16th, Jake Blackhall 17th with Ross McFarlane 18th, David Baker 19th, Wojciech Savinovic 20th. That was your first and second from your first race there, so only up to 19th and 20th, maybe playing the reverse grid game there. Pete Harrod in 21st and Max Wright 22nd, Maciej Sakovic 23rd with Ashley Blakewood 24th, Andrew Whitehead 25th with Sully Chepolewski in 26th, Thorstein Helgson 27th with John Roberts 28th, Matt Woodhouse 29th, Adam McNally up into 30th place in that race. And as the screen ticks over, Kip Stevens 31st with Matthew Keeber 32nd, Michael Blake 33rd with Cesar Rizzo 34th, Ashley Beard in 35th, Alex Everett 36th with Will Tregertha 37th, Josh Thompson 38th with Lee Deemer 39th, Nathan Davis in 40th place, and one more time it ticks on over, and it was Jack McIntyre 41st place with Robert Graham 42nd, Dave Christie 43rd, Jamie Ayres 44th, Ben Hackerson 45th, Colin Cunniff 46th. These are all drivers who were 2 laps or more down. So Ben Hackerson, Colin Cunniff, Daniel Hunt and Stuart McFadden all not finishing the race there. Looking at the reverse grid positions once again, Selin Chepelevsky, if it's 26, if it's another low number, once again he could end up on pole position. The 40th place driver is Nathan Davies, but he's got a few pit start penalties to come, and if we did get a full reverse, if we did get a full one, it will be Jamie Ayres. So what we will do, let's finish that music, bring up the reverse wheel, you can see where it left off last time, and let's roll that one once again and see where the reverse grid comes up. And do you know what, is it going to stay on 34, is it going to crop over, it's going to tick over, and it is 26. And who's that, Connery? I forgot.
Yeah, another small reverse grid here, and it will be Selin Chepelevsky getting himself the pole position for the next race. Andrew Whitehead will join him on the front row. Second row will be Ashley Blakehood and Maciej Saukovic.
Maciej Saukovic, yeah, that's it's do you know what? It's not an easy name, that's for sure. What we'll do then is we will step aside for just a few moments here. You are watching the BSRTC British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship here on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live. Don't stay here though, because well, you won't want to miss race 3, that's for sure. And we'll be right back after these few messages.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
I sat in the car, you always wonder what's it going to feel like. It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshields at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live. Third race of the night in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. And, well, what a fantastic couple of races we've had so far for you tonight. Myself, Paul Smith, with Connery Maddock in the commentary booth. And, well, first thing, I want to give a quick mention to Max Walsh, who may be watching tonight's broadcast. Hope you're enjoying the show. And if you do, if you can, find yourself a sim, get onto the iRacing and get yourself into the series, because it'd be great to have you racing in this series. And well, Connery, I'm just showing the conditions that we've got for this third race, and it's a little bit toasty, shall we say.
That is pretty much an understatement. It's pretty much the hottest weather that you could possibly be, well, have it manually set to here on the iRacing service. There's 32 degrees Celsius in the air. Track temperature nearing 50 degrees Celsius with the clouds just not here at the circuit at the moment. So that sun is beating down onto the track and all that rubber that lays on across the track, and it's making it very, very toasty indeed. And perhaps you're better placed to describe what happens when these Kias meet hot weather.
Yeah, certainly had plenty of experience of racing these Kias in hot weather, and you've got to be really gentle with your application of both the throttle and the brakes. You don't want to put too much heat into those tyres, especially the front tyres, because once they overheat, especially in conditions like this, you just cannot cool them down. Interesting to note, by the way, we've got quite a strong wind coming from the north, 30 miles an hour. I don't know if you can tell me which part of the track that would affect. But that's a really strong wind for these cars, but the aerodynamics aren't exactly the biggest factor of these cars, shall we say.
Yeah, northerly wind is a crosswind coming down the pit straight, so that's going to make for some interesting problems maybe coming down into Cops Corner, but we will just have to wait and see if these how these drivers deal with the weather conditions out there on track right now, as they're on their 10-minute warm-up that they get before each of these races.
Yeah, warm-up being the operative word right there. Just to tell you, compare because the qualifying times we were seeing, 57 seconds, 56 seconds, weren't we, for qualifying in the first race. Look at that warm-up time, fastest warm-up time at the moment, and let me just bring it up on screen there. Oh, in fact, it doesn't show you on there. It is 1 minute, 0.6. So you're talking about 3 or 4 seconds slower per lap on a really short lap. So it's going to be a tough one. But Connery, as the clock ticks over, you'll be able to take us through this full grid for race 3 of the evening.
Yes, I will, as the session does take itself over, and we'll see who is on pole position and the like. It is going to be Stelian Cheplevsky on pole position, Andrew Whitehead lining up P number 2, Ashley Blake Hood gets himself into P number 3 as a result of the reverse grid, and Maciej Selkovic getting himself P4, Max Wright P number 5, Pete Harrod, Wojciech Savidovic, David Baker, Ross McFarlane, Jake Blackall, Mitchell Hall, Stuart Atkinson around out the top 12, Alexander Smolensky, Laura Bonds, George Simmons, Nicole Foggy, Rusty Laidler, Scott Malcolm, Richard Gore, and Stephen Baxter round out the top 20. Then it's going to be Brian J. Holmes, Lee Berridge, Andreas Katz, Pete Newman, Sven Glatzel, Daniel Kraft, Forsen Helgeson, John Roberts, Mark Woodhouse, and Adam McNally top 30. Then your rest of your drivers are going to be Kip Stevens, Matthew Kieber, Michael Blake, Desire Rizzo, Ashley Beard, Alex Everett, Will Trugurtha, Josh Thompson, Lee Deemer, Nathan Davies, Jack McIntyre, Robert Graham, Dave Christie, Jamie Ayers, Benjamin Haxon, Colin Kenneth, and Daniel Hunt. And that is your entire 47-car grid.
Absolutely, and we're getting ready for the start then, Connery.
Yep, here we go. The red lights are on. Your driver's just waiting for them to extinguish. And here we go, green flag racing for race number 3 here at the Silverstone National Circuit. Everyone gets away relatively cleanly. Fantastic start, though, from the number 40 of Pete Harrod, challenging Wojciech Savidovic down into turn number 1, almost 3 wide behind there as well, as they head their way through Cops for the first time, and relatively safe for all your drivers coming through there, side by side, pretty much throughout your entire field. The top 3 are all single file, though, as Pete Harrod will get himself up into that P number 4 spot, as Ashley P number 2 pushes wide. That was Andrew Whitehead off into the marbles there. 3 wide coming off the corner down the club straight. And that is going to be the driver, Ashley Baker, losing a couple of positions as well as a result, as they're going to get head 3 wide almost again up here for inside your top 10. Yes, it is going to be 3 wide coming down into Brooklands, and Ashley Baker is actually going to back way out of that one. Not really want to get involved.
Yeah, I think he was sensible there. He realised that he was in a danger zone there. Max Wright and David Baker going side by side through Luffield, and the exit of Luffield. End of lap 1 already on the books, and well, around they go, and still Max Wright giving a good show of himself here, side by side in that Automech Knockhill car down the inside of Copse Corner, and he's going to keep it ahead of David Baker, and that's going to help Wojciech Savinovic as Ashel Blake Hood runs wide through Copse Corner as well, so he's been involved in all sorts of shenanigans. And just speaking of shenanigans, look at the battle pack all the way through. This pack is just manic. It's just crazy.
Yep, absolutely crazy indeed, as Ashley Blackwood still loses yet more positions. It's been a terrible first lap and a quarter for him, as he's way back in the field now after starting so high up. And it's going to be almost 3 wide coming down into Brooklands between the drivers of Stuart Atkinson, Jake Blackhall, battling for just positions just outside your top 10 here. Meanwhile, side by side ahead of them between George Simmons and Alexander Smolensky, they're side by side through what is going to be Luffield Corner right there. But meanwhile, at the front of your field, Steliam Chalepsky has just checked out on these first couple laps. 1.3 seconds is the gap already.
Yeah, still looking at this Simmons and Smolensky battle down towards Copse Corner. Once again, there's cars going off into the grass behind, further down the track, on the exit of Woodcut. So drivers struggling already at this stage of the race with the hot conditions here. A lot of temperature in this track, as we said, nearly 50 degrees. There's a lot of marbles on track as well. Smolensky forces Simmons wide, and here comes Nicole Foggy then down the inside, and he's going to try and take both Smolensky and Simmons as they go down the back straight here.
He will try, but will he succeed? He has a driver of Smolensky right in front of him, so he can't go as deep on the brakes as perhaps he would probably want to, as he's probably actually almost going to make it 3 wide coming through Brooklands there, but no, he's just going to have to fall behind just for now. And there's a couple of drivers tagged there behind, and also Stuart Atkinson's also going to check up a whole bunch of traffic 4 wide coming through Luffield, so they all try to check up, all try to not have their own little instance. A little bit of bumper barge in there between Richard Gordon and Stephen Baxter, as they're almost heading 3 wide coming across the pit straight here. Turns into two sets of 2 wides briefly. We have a driver off there. Brian J. Holmes taking off track excursion into the grass just before Copse here. Further contact ahead. Stuart Atkinson has to be pushed wide and let a whole stream of drivers by. I
think it was Jake Blackhall who was involved in that. We're going to try and show a replay here just quickly. It was just a little bit further back than that, actually. Let's try and get it back a little bit further.
Instant in maggots. This is Richard Gore has had a major off here with a couple of drivers involved here as they all tried to spread out to avoid the instant. There was a car spinning ahead of them, but I think it was Laura Bond and Sven Glatzel getting themselves into a tangle that just caused the whole train of cars behind them to back up.
4 wide going into Brooklands. This cannot be good for the health of these drivers. Berridge gets into the side of Atkinson. Now Atkinson gets another tag from behind. That's Woodhouse, I believe it is 57. Yes, it is Woodhouse. And, well, where do you look here? Because these guys are just knocking 7 bells out of each other as they go through Woodcut. Again, they were going 4 wide, though, into Brooklands there. That's crazy. And amazingly, there wasn't a massive plane crash there.
Yeah, well, there pretty much was a massive plane crash coming into the maggot session that triggered what would be the 4 wide going into the Brooklands corner there. As we see number 3 wide coming here off of Copse here between the number 12, the 57 and the 25. Keebler will just stay ahead for now, but goes a little bit too deep on the brakes, has to push a little bit wide, and Newman just has to check up behind him and lose the position in the end to Mark Woodhouse as they make it side by side coming off of maggots.
Absolutely, battling still all the way through the field. You look at them 3 wide further back on the exit of Beckett's, but as we'll look towards the front, Savinovic, Baker, the 2 championship rivals, they're side by side through Luffield. Max Wright is trying to get involved in this one as well, as Michael Hall behind them, and ahead of them is Andrew Whitehead, who is basically keeping with Maciej Sakovic as well. Wojciech Savinovic just decides to dropping behind Baker for the time being. We saw how close these two got in that first race for the battle for the lead. This is a battle for 5th place, but look at this queue of traffic here, and that's what set a 3rd place down to about 11th or 12th.
Yep, it is. There's a little bit of bumper barging going on through maggots there between the likes of Andrew Whitehead, David Baker, and Savinovic there, as David Baker looks to put a car in between himself and his championship rival here. And, well, the points could mean the difference at the end of the season. Not right now, as they're about 100 points separated before this weekend. But actually, it's going to be Svojtech Savinovic down towards the inside. That becomes the outside for Luffield on his championship rival on that inside line. And he's still not going to get this move complete. And well, David Baker is helped by the fact that his teammate in Michael Hall is right behind him there, so I don't think Michael Hall will push the issue too much, especially when his teammate is involved in a battle of this significance.
I think Michael Hall's trying to get involved with this to put a car between him, between Baker and Savinovic there as they go through Copse Corner once again. By the way, Chepolevsky, as we'll look at the top 8 on the screen there, Chepolevsky in the lead of this one, 2.3 seconds ahead of Pete Harrod. Then it's this battle then. Maciej Sakovic in 3rd place, Andrew Whitehead 4th, David Baker 5th, Wojciech Savinovic 6th, who goes into the back of Baker. Michael Hall 7th, and actually it's Ross McFarlane now who's come up into 8th place in this queue of traffic. McFarlane's is a quick driver, so these guys are all just trying to make the moves, and here goes Baker down the inside then of Whitehead at Brooklands, trying to force the matter. There's a bit of a door bang there, swapping of paint. Whitehead won't give up this one quite so easy. Through Luffield, Baker's got to be careful not to go into the marbles here. There's a lot of marbles offline, and Baker over the grass creek there on the exit of the corner, and that's the job done. Now he's got to hope that Andrew Whitehead holds up Wojciech Savinovic for his championship, really. But, well, Savinovic will be wanting to get past as soon as possible to keep with Baker.
Yep, exactly. And also Baker can be thinking about chasing the drivers ahead of him down that curve, like Sakovic and Pete Harrod and Stellan Chapleski, your race leader. I don't think he'll get to the race lead by the time this race is done, but he may gain 1 or 2 more positions, as Savinovic very deep on the brakes coming into maggots, also almost tapping the back bumper of Andrew Whitehead here, but he is going to get the, or not quite getting the run off the corner, is Savinovic, but he will have the slipstream, more of a slipstream than Andrew Whitehead has to the car ahead of him, as will he make a move down towards the inside here at Brooklands, and he does, and there's pinching his man to the inside line. They rub doors all the way through the apex of the corner, and Savinovic somehow manages to get his way through.
Yeah, we saw how good he was on the brakes in that first race, and he's proved it again. White had tried his best to force his way and stay ahead, but Savinovic is through. Simmons side by side with Max right now as they go through the exit of Luffield onto another lap here. We've got 7 laps remaining in this race. It's flown by once again, and these drivers pushing hard. You wouldn't think that it's really hot weather conditions that they've been trying to take it easy. They're all going absolutely hell for leather. They want to get as far up as possible. Speaking of getting as far up as possible, Alex Everett has got his way past, and Matt Woodhouse has now got Adam McNally side by side with him. So Woodhouse not the best exit out of Copse Corner. McNally makes it through, and John Roberts, Pete Newman are involved there as well. And in front of them is Lee Berridge and Matthew Keeber. There's a whole train of cars further down here all together. It's trains at the front, trains at the back. Maciej Sakovic now, he could be losing the podium position because David Baker has just waltzed up to the back of his car here.
Yeah, that was 0.8 of a second gained there for David Baker on that last lap alone. So Baker definitely showing his pace right now, and it wasn't quite as fast as your leader was running the last time by, but definitely enough to bring him up to the back of Sakovic. As yeah, behind that was Simmons and what is going to be Alexander Smolenski on the inside line for Copse Corner, and they'll just make their way through there relatively okay, giving lots of racing room given there, which is what we like to see. And well, Nicole Foy could also get himself involved.
Daniel Kraft and Andreas Katz have got together. That's a big instant. And, well, I would imagine just looking at this, we're going to have a replay of that one. And they were squeezing each other on the entry to Copse. They weren't exactly giving each other room. And on the exit there, well, Katz has got a whole left-hand side of the track to go at. That'll be one for the stewards to look at, that's for sure. I wouldn't want to apportion blame to anyone because, quite frankly, people will accuse me of bias. But yeah, that's one for the stewards on Monday evening, that's for sure. We've got battle still, Smolenski and Simmons still side by side here as Baker has made it up into third place, by the way. It's just action everywhere. These two, they've also got Nicole Foggy. Look at how close these three are actually as they head into Copse Corner once again, Connery.
Yep, and Smolenski and Simmons also again side by side through Copse Corner. They're giving each other a lot of room, and well, it's pretty unheard of here in the Kia, where you just usually use your doors and use your bumpers to try and get past someone as they head their way through the maggot section here as well. And there's a little bit of door up in between those two drivers, but otherwise they're also able to keep it going in the right direction, as Nicole Foggy may also look to make it 3 wide here coming down into the Brooklands corner, but no, it just looks like he's content to stay behind first for now as they head their way down into Brooklyn. George Simmons on the inside line, and Smolenski hanging around the outside there, and I think he may have just made a mistake there, and that allows George Simmons to just stay with him for yet another lap.
I tell you what, we've got the prime position right here. We're on board with Nicole Foggy. These two still duking it out between the two of them. Simmons is going to try and slot in there. He's actually on the brakes just momentarily there, I think, just to try and slot in there, and that's allowed him to get ahead of Foggy, but in towards Copse Corner once again. You can see how much movement there is in the car, in the suspension around Copse Corner. Get the run out the corner. It's all important to get the run out of corners. Wojciech Savinovic, he's dropping down. What has happened to him? It possibly is a slow down penalty. We'll maybe have a quick look at the back at that. And I don't know if you can have a quick look.
It might have been coming for Woodcut. Those bollards on the inside, even though, well, they don't technically exist here in the iRacing world, it can give you a slow down penalty if you woodcut that just a little bit. Yeah, I've been victim to that before myself. And meanwhile, side by side for P number 6, Andrew Whitehead and the car of Michael Hall here coming through left field. And again, there's Vidic in the background having to push wide as there's a power slide for Andrew Whitehead coming through the corner. Yet more door rubbing between the two drivers as they head off left field. I
don't think that was a power slide. I think that was a little bit of a bump and a shove and I'll take that position, thank you very much. And that's exactly what happened for Michael Hall. Whitehead now veering off to the right hand side there ahead of Ross McFarlane, trying to block off McFarlane, but McFarlane's got the inside line here for Copse. A little bit more door banging as they go through the exit of Copse Corner, heading down towards Beckett's now. Maggott's the left-hander and then Beckett's the right-hander. Whitehead is on the outside line, but if he can hang it out around the outside, he'll have the inside for the next corner. But Savinovic now is trying to follow through. McFarlane, you think, is just a nose ahead, but you get this speed by carrying it around the outside. And Savinovic,
thread the needle.
Yep, going 3 wide here. Connery, that's not going to work. Oh, it got a bit close there. Oh, bang! Into the side of the car. McFarlane might have steering damage from that one. It was a hefty hit. And Whitehead, he's being robust with these defences, that's for sure.
Yep, he really has. There's no further contact just yet between those two drivers, but this could be the start of something that is going to be very, very fought with fire on the last 2 laps of this race, which we're coming up to right now, as Ross McFarlane's actually going to lift out of the move there coming down into Copse Corner, just letting Wojciech by. And Max Wright, has he got a slow down penalty? There's a couple of drivers already fallen victim to this already during the course of this race alone, and here comes Wojciech now on Andrew Whitehead coming down to Maggots. Not going to get the move there, but he's coming under threat now from Max Wright as goes deep on the brakes.
Yeah, I was just thinking then Wright was coming in rapidly there on Wojciech and not able to get the job done. And still, Russell Laidlaw running way wide in the background then on the exit. Matthew Keeber, Andreas Katz and Alex Everett all pretty close together. They're going to make it 3 wide. We're heading towards the final lap, by the way, in this one. Chepelevsky is in the lead by 3.4 seconds. He's just waltzed away with this one in this 3rd race of the evening. Keeper slow on through Brooklands. That's going to allow Everett then to run around the outside of Luffield. Katz, look at the damage that Katz has got there, but Chepelevsky now started his last lap. It won't be long before he sees the checkered flag. It's a short lap here, and these guys finally sort themselves out further down your order, 19th and 20th.
Yep, they will do, as Cheplevsky's heading himself around maggots now, so not too long until he can come across the line and take the checkered flag for race number 3. He's battling side by side between Whitehead and Svidovic. Svidovic has to push a little bit wide coming through the second part of maggots here, and he's going to lose the momentum coming down the club straight, but he gains it back just a little bit. He's on the outside of that white line there, heading side by side down towards Brooklands.
He certainly is. They're still side by side. It's going to be close between the two of them, but I think Wojciech should have the job done. But we'll look forward then at Stelian Chepelevsky, who's coming round the last corner here, and he's going to take the win in this third race of the evening. Across the line he goes to take that win. Fantastic result for him. Wojciech Savinovic does end up ahead of Andrew Whitehead. Max Wright and Ross McFarlane, they're going to be side by side, neck and neck across the line. Who's going to take that position? It's going to be Max Wright just ahead then, and looking further down, queues of traffic all the way down. It's like being on the M25 at rush hour, that's for sure. And Colin Cunniff is trying his best to get past Scott Malcolm here, but I don't think he's going to do that either. Connery, again, really exciting race, but one man who didn't have an exciting race was the man who won this race, Stelian Chepelevsky.
Yeah, another insane race in the middle of the field, but as you mentioned, Chepelevsky basically got off the line well, and we didn't really need to talk about him for the rest of the race. He was running so well up front there. The final gap at the end there was, in fact, 3.76 seconds between himself and Pete Harrod for P number 2. I'm just curious at what the gap was between those two drivers that we saw very close across the line. I think that's even less than half a tenth of a second there between Max Wright and Ross McFarlane.
Yeah, it was... let's have a look. Yeah, it is. It's about 0.042 of a second between Max Wright and Ross McFarlane. That's how close that one rounded out. So what we will do now is we will bring up the results here from this third race of the evening. Stella Chepelevsky then wins this one, 3.7 seconds ahead of Pete Harrod in second place. David Baker up into third place ahead of Maciej Sakovic in fourth. Michael Hall fifth. Wojciech Savinovic, victim of a slowdown penalty, in sixth place with Andrew Whitehead in seventh. Max Wright in eighth with Ross McFarlane, as you can see, just behind in ninth. And 10th place was Alexander Smolenski. George Simmons, Nicole Foggy, Jake Blackall, Russell Laidler, Stephen Baxter, Brian Holmes, Sven Glatzel, Laura Bond, Alex Everett, Matthew Keeber. That rounds out your top 20 there. 20 seconds between the leader and 20th place, so really close once again in this race. Lee Berridge 21st with John Roberts 22nd, Ben Hackson 23rd and Matt Woodhouse 24th, Ashley Blake Hooding 25th, Michael Blake, he could get a reverse grid pole if we've been keep up what's been going on. He's in 26th with Ashley being 27th, Pete Newman 28th with Cesar Rizzo 29th and Scott Malcolm in 30th place. 31st, Colin Cunniff with Jamie S 32nd, Robert Graham in 33rd with Lee Dimmer 34th, Kip Stevens down in 35th place, he won't be happy with that result. Josh Thompson finishes another race, and that one is in 36th place. Adam McNally 37th with Dave Christie 38th, Thorstein Helgson 39th, and Nathan Davies starting from the pit lane in 40th. Daniel Hunt in 41st with Jack McIntyre 42nd, and the drivers one lap down or more. Andreas Katz and Daniel Kraft, we saw getting involved between the two of them. Will Tregurtha didn't finish, neither did Stuart Atkinson or Richard Gore. That is your 47 car field. And Connery, before we go to the reverse grid, thoughts on that race? Carnage, but all in all pretty much clean.
Yeah, very clean indeed, and again a great rate of attrition as we've seen over the past couple of races. It's surprising to see that when you see these cars go bumper to bumper, door to door, all the way around the circuit, and there's so few cars that are out of the race. It's absolutely brilliant to see, but again, it was a comfortable win for Stelian Chepelevsky, but the thing is, he's going to be bitten by the reverse grid right now, and if it's a full reverse grid, he's going to be doubly bitten, but a full reverse grid might just top off what has been a great evening.
You almost perfectly timed that with the music, by the way, just finishing.
Oh,
Just to let you know, if it is a There's the wheel there. If it's 26, then it'll be Michael Blake on pole position. If it's number 40, you'll be looking at Nathan Davis, although he has got a pit start in this final race as well. He's suffering this week. And if it is a full reverse grid, I really hope it is a full reverse grid, you could get fireworks once again. Daniel Kraft and Andreas Katz could end up on the front row of the grid, so that could be interesting. But let's find out then who is going to be on pole position. Let's get the music playing and let's give this wheel a spin. For the final time, probably my final time this year on Apex Racing UK. Well, we are going to have quite a relatively sized big one, and that's number 32. So who was 32nd?
Now it's going to be Jamie Ayres taking the pole position for the final race of this evening.
So Jamie Ayres on pole position for this one, and it's going to be Jamie Ayres on pole. Colin Cunniff in second, Scott Malcolm in third, Cesar Rizzo in fourth, and Pete Newman in fifth place on the grid. So that's going to be an interesting one as we head into that final race of the evening. So that's all to come forward shortly. So thank you for joining us here on Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live for the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship from Silverstone National, and we'll be right back after these few messages. Don't go anywhere, you won't want to miss this final race.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder what's it going to feel like. It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshields at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV, and it is the final race of the evening here for the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've been enjoying everything that's been going on. Paul Smith and Connery Maddock here for one final time this season, and well, the track conditions are the things that have struck out to us straight away, Connery.
Yep, exactly. It's going to be overcast, 18 degrees Celsius in the air. The same could be said for the track temperature. And it's also very quick winds again, going to be around 30 miles an hour to the north again. So again, that's going to be another crosswind coming down into Cops, which could be fun indeed. Maybe not, maybe if you're a spectator, maybe not for the drivers. But we're just heading towards the end of warm-up here with the reverse grid. There hasn't really been, well, haven't been big reverse grids these past couple of races, but we'll be seeing another one for this race, and it can throw up a whole bunch of surprises as it usually does.
Yeah, 32 was the reverse grid last time out. So we'll be getting a little bit more action here, and it's going to be fast and frenetic. It has been all evening, and you know, if anybody says, oh, you missed this action or you missed my battle with this one, I do apologise, but there's that much battling going on around here. I think Alex Simpson deliberately got the organisers to put this round at this time so he didn't have to do the camera work on this one, because it's been absolutely chaotic. But I've been loving every minute of this. But yeah, I'm getting an itchy right foot here, Connery. I want to go racing again.
Are you sure you want to be out there on track?
Well, maybe not round here, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're just counting down the session here, and as you can see, overcast conditions in the sky, really cool track temperatures. That's going to have the back end just swinging out a little bit, have that little bit of loose rear end for these drivers. It's going to help them in this race, and we could see a bit more overtaken in this final race of the evening. And well, the clock is ticking down towards zero, so we will be heading in towards looking at the grid for the final time tonight, Connery. So when that session decides to tick over now, why don't you take us through the final grid of the evening?
Yep, I would be glad to, as we'll see who is where for the final race of this week. It's going to be Jamie Ayres on pole position, Colin Cunniff lining up on the front row with him, Scott Malcolm, Cesare Rizzo, Pete Newman, Ashley Beard make up the two rows behind them. It's going to be Michael Blake, Ashley Blake Hood having to start P number 8, Mark Woodhouse, Benjamin Hackerson starting P at number 10, John Roberts, P number 11, Lee Berridge, P number 12. Then you've got the likes of Matthew Kieber, Alex Everett having to start P14, Laura Bond, P15, Sven Glatzel, P number 16, Brian J. Holmes behind them. And you've also got Stephen Baxter, Rusty Ladler, and Jack Blackhall rounding out your top 20 on the grid. Then it's going to be Nicole Foggy, then it's going to be George Simmons, Alexander Somolensky, Ross McFarlane, Max Wright, Andrew Whitehead, Wojciech Svidovic, Michael Hall, Marciek Salkovic, David Baker, Matt Pete Harrod, Stelian Chetleski, Robert Graham, Lee Deemer, Kip Stevens, Josh Thompson, Adam McNally, Dave Crispy, Forsten Helgeson, and others, as I hear the engines rev. And we're going to get going relatively shortly here for the final race here at Silverstone National Circuit. And the green flag will fly here for the final race. And it's going to be a very good start for Colin Cunniff from P number 2. Will be challenging, and actually 4 wide behind them, 1 on the grass as well. And that was the driver of Ashley Beard making his way through. And then somehow he's managed to get what is going to be from P number 6 into P number 3 on the start of this race. We're going to have to get a replay of that at some point, but it's side by side for P number 1 at the moment. Jamie Ayres and Colin Cunniff. Colin Cunniff trying to hang around the outside here. He has the position complete if he can just make the corner there, and he does. Colin Cunniff to the race lead right now, but what an insane start for Ashley Beard.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a replay of that at the end of this race, because I won't be able to replay it now. There's just too much action going on track. But as you say, it is Colin Cunniff in the lead of this one. I'm just looking back. Matt Woodhouse side by side. Oh, there's contact behind Woodhouse, Glatzel and Kieber as well. Ashley Blake Hood has run wide through Luffield ahead of them, and well, everybody's still trying to sort themselves out. It's chaotic on this opening lap here. Jake Blackhall is side by side as well with Laura Bond. There's Brian Holmes, Nicole Foggy, Wojciech Svidovic in there as well, Russell Laidler. It's just absolutely absolutely manic back there. Ashley Beard, though, he's battling away. He's trying to get that second place from Jamie Ayres. He's looking to the inside of Maggots. He's not going to get the job done there. Trying to take the wider entry into Beckett to try and get that cutback. And do you know what? He's done a good job there as Ashley.
Yeah, he's done an absolutely fantastic job, but his run is going to be stunted somewhat because Jamie Ayres has the draft from your current race leader in Colin Cuff, but will actually be a sling one down the inside here coming into Brooklands. Then, no, not quite there, as side by side behind them, this is Scott Malcolm / Rizzo, as Rizzo will have to be on the outside line for Luffield here, and almost contact between those two drivers. And there was a car coming across the grass there. That was Alex Everett, and he's going to check up all the traffic behind him. John Roberts having to swerve to avoid him. There's also his teammate there in Sven Glatzel, as this big gaggle of cars head their way across the line to complete lap 2.
Yeah, that was a car just way out of control. We'll try and get a replay of that on screen. And yeah, it was contact with John Roberts that sent him across the infield of that final corner. He came back on in front of Roberts. And yeah, amazingly, everybody's still running, but look at how checked up this pack is now here. Oh, John Roberts, he's out of control there. In towards Beckett, so too is Baxter. And everybody's still alive here. We're only missing one driver. That's Daniel Hunt. He's gone out. He's out the race.
Yep, it's absolutely amazing to see how these drivers can keep it on the circuit. The amount of contact that's been going on is this gaggle of cars head their way down into Brooklands. Yeah, again, a little bit more contact ahead there. John Roberts there, almost spinning in the middle of the corner as a result of contact, but they head side by side again, all the way through here.
Battle for second is intensifying. It's Beard and Ayres, and there's Pete Newman getting involved in this one as well. So you've got a battle for the podium here. Beard going to the grass once again. I think he's a grass tracker with the way he's been driving today, but Pete Newman gets a better run through Copse. That's going to be him through ahead. Sven Glatzel is attacking Michael Blake, and then you've just got that queue of cars. Oh my goodness, they're going 3 wide going in towards Beckett's here, and Blackhall is involved in there. Ashley Blake, Hood, Wojciech, Savinovic has just found himself in the middle of the pack here, and he can't seem to get his way through. And well, there's just positions changing all the way through. Chepalewski and Baker, they're side by side as well. They're championship contenders here. Pete Harrod is in front of Chepalewski and gets contact from behind from Chepalewski. Here comes number 36, Andreas Katz as well. Harrod is trying to go down the inside of Whitehead, who, oh my goodness, it's going to go 3 wide. Is on the exit of Luffield. Baker and Chepalewski, no, they don't. They decide to go side by side instead. Where do you look here, Connor? It's just racing everywhere because Beard is still battling for 3rd place now with Jamie Ayres, but he runs off track.
Yep, exactly, and words cannot describe how crazy my timing board looks right now with all the red and green lights going on, with all the passing that's going on out there in track. As Ashley Beard tries this move they tried before in Maggots. It takes the wider line to try and get a better exit here, and he is going to do a relatively good job of it. He'll have the toe, he'll have the run, perhaps coming down into Brooklands, and will he dive it down the inside this time? He was hesitant last time to do it. He's hesitant this time to do it, but the thing is, it's still early on in the race, so he can afford to.
We've lost Andrew Whitehead at Beckett. I'm trying to find out what's happened here. He's onto the brakes and he's going to run wide into David Baker, and it's, do you know what, it's a complete copy of what happened in the first race with I believe it was Daniel Hunt, wasn't it, in the first race, who got turned round at Beckett's, and it's a carbon copy of that one. So quarter panel around the go, and here comes Beard now. This is his opportunity. He's got the run through Copse corner. He's going alongside the Welshman and Jamie Ayres on the brakes, little possibly almost rubbing there. Ayres is going to hold onto the outside, but Beard just gets in front now, and here comes Jamie Ayres' teammate Cesar Rizzo. I can't think of words to come out here.
Yeah, absolutely crazy stuff as Jamie Ayres tries to reply to that move. They actually get a contact coming through into the entry to the corner there, but they both still manage to keep themselves on track as Ashley Beard gets the kitty litter on the outside a little bit. And contact between 2 teammates there. Jamie Ayres getting into the back of Cesar Rizzo, is almost 3 wide off of left field between a couple of other drivers like Sven Glatzel, and Benjamin Hackerson. And also it's going to be Alex Everett trying to squeeze his way through on the stricken Cesar Rizzo here. Will make it side by side coming into Cop's corner here, and I have to wonder how much damage is on that car of Cesario Rizzo at the moment as they rub doors coming off of Cop's corner. They rub doors yet again on the exit, and it's going to be absolutely crazy stuff between these two drivers heading their way down towards Maggots now, and it's going to be Alex Everett on the inside line, and perhaps the favorable line coming through here. More side-by-side ahead of them though.
Yeah, it's just crazy, and they've finally sorted themselves out there. Jake Blackhall is in the pits, and he's going to be out of this race. Disaster for Jake Blackhall there, but look at this. Glatzel, Jamie Ayres, Benjamin Hackerson. Oh, and Ayres into the side of Glatzel. Very forceful there. He doesn't want him to get past. Glatzel's going to give it back there. And that's exactly what's happening. Oh, this is going to end in tears, surely. Well, they're all sorting themselves out. And, well, this is all getting a bit rough and ready now. This is getting a bit X-rated now. But luckily, we're past the watershed here as we're going to go 3 wide. Ben Hackerson looking down the inside. And teammates! That's the teammates all up and over, and that's Jamie Ayres. After all that's happened, he's up and over. He's going to be out this race. Replay up on screen.
That is what you never want to happen between two teammates. An instant that takes them both out of this race. That concrete wall on the outside that is going to take no prisoners, and it tips Jamie Ayres' car up and over and over. A couple of barrel rolls done for the Welshman, and his day is done for today. But looking back towards the live pictures, though, it does mean that this group has been spread out just a little bit, but they'll close up in no time as Sven Glatzel tries to defend from his teammate Alex Everett and Benjamin Hackerson behind. Meanwhile, there was a little bit of contact behind there between Wojciech Swidovic and Stephen Baxter, and there's also side-by-side behind here between Nicole Foggy and Lee Berridge for what is going to be P 14th. Number 15 or thereabout. P number 14.
Yeah, 14th. Yeah, after all the carnage and chaos that were happening there between the two teammates, and I tell you what, Dave Crozier, the team boss, will not be happy at all. I can assure you of that. Stan Chepelevsky side-by-side with Josh Thompson as they're heading through Cop's corner. That's for 26th place there. So Stallion not really making moves forward in this race, but the same could be said for David Baker as well. He's dropping back. Who's that going off the track there? That is Josh Thompson. He's just gone off at Maggots.
Yeah, but he's just misjudged the braking point there and just had to take it towards the outside of the track to avoid running into the back of anyone, as side-by-side between Ross McFarlane and Daniel Kraft here, the number 3 driver heading his way down the inside at Brooklyn's corner, will make it 3 wide as they both try to go around either side of Laura Bond here. And Laura seems to have a habit of being in other cars' sandwiches right now. We've seen it a couple of races ago, and here we see it here again.
Yeah, absolutely. Down through Woodcote once again. And Kraft is going to have to just slip in behind for the time being and maybe just work on Laura. Down towards Cop's corner, actually. He's going to stick a nose in, and he's, well, more than a nose, he's going through. That's a good, determined move there. And behind, Pete Harrod is battling with another CQR car of Michael Hall.
Another slider through what was going to be Maggots there. That was Mark Woodhouse getting a little bit of a tag from behind by what is Svidovic there, and that could have been very, very ugly as well, but luckily the drivers managed to keep themselves on the racing surface.
Benjamin Hackerson side by side, Alex Everett, around Luffield they go. We've seen how those Fanatec cars have been getting a bit rough with each other and those around them, and Ben Hackerson is just having to take it easy here and not get involved in anything silly, and that's exactly what he's doing here. He's taking it easy and not getting involved. Russell Laidlaw and Lee Berridge side by side as they go across the line, as well as a couple of cars in front, Foggy and Woodhouse. So side-by-side action all the way down your field, and they're still going to carry on. Michael Hall, Andreas Katz and Pete Harrod are all battling as well as they go through Cop's corner. It's just manic, this final race. Everybody knows it's the final race of the evening, and they're all giving it everything they've got.
They are indeed. There's multiple instances of 2 wide coming off of Maggots' corner there. There's one further up the field here between Stephen Baxter and Svidovic here, the number 1 car making his way down the inside of Brooklyn's corner. Or is he? It's so tough to make a pass there because the advantage switches so quickly when it comes towards left field here. Now Stephen Baxter has the advantageous line, but Svidovic can get the overspeed coming off this corner, and he gets a fantastic run off the corner. That is pretty much the best run he could possibly get coming off of left field there, and he does clear Stephen Baxter by the line.
Oh, John Roberts is round into the wall. He's going to come back into the field. Russell Laidlaw collects him. Luckily, nobody else does. That's a huge incident. We'll get a replay of that one. We'll see if we can get a view from on board with Russell Laidlaw. And there's nothing that Rusty could have done here. He's absolutely completely unsighted there. All of a sudden, you see the cars in front off to the left. John Roberts, nothing that Russell can do. And, well, big crash there. John Roberts is going to be the latest one to fall out of this race.
Yeah, a huge incident coming down the pit straight as we have another 3-wide situation coming down the club straight here. That was between 49 and Max Wright and David Baker here, number 2, as they almost rubbed doors coming through that corner there. And there's a car off ahead. That is going to be Lee Berridge off at left field corner here. Did he have some help from behind? And in fact, he did. And in fact, it was well, it wasn't help that Andreas Katz wanted to give him, because he had a little bit of contact on the inside from Laura Bond.
Yeah, he's down the inside there, just got the replay up on the screen. A little bit of constant. Do you know what? Actually, he got into the side of his teammate as well, did Berridge. So it's a race of teammates getting into each other here today, and that's certainly been the theme of this final race. Savinovic, by the way, up to 9th place ahead of Stephen Baxter. He's finally made that move stick. And amazingly, I don't know how he's still running, Russell Laidlaw is still up in 16th place.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic job to keep that car going out there on track right now. And I see a battle brewing, starting to close up between Ashley Beard and Pete Newman here. Ashley Beard's been putting in some fantastic laps, faster than anyone else in the field these past couple of times by. And he's now poised to maybe make a challenge for being number 2 at the end.
We're still looking at the battles further down as well. 2 laps remaining in this race, by the way. Harrod and Chepelewski have finally sorted themselves out. But let's have a look at that battle for P2 then. It is a one-on-one battle, and it is Beard versus Harrod in towards Beckett's once again. Going to try and have a look at how these drivers have been getting on. There we go. And Beard last lap was a couple of tenths faster than than Newman. Here he goes then. He's looking. He's wanting to make that move in towards Beckett's once again. Not going to make that move stick though. Newman holding that advantageous line, and Beard is going to have to go the long way if he makes it. And well, out front, Colin Cunniff is going to be starting his last lap. Beard's getting a fantastic run out of that final corner, but Newman's going to cut him off.
Yes, he's going to be squeezed. Yeah, the final lap here, and can Ashley Beard do anything? He knows what Pete Newman's going to do now if he's going to squeeze him like that in the middle of the corner, and it's going to be deep on the brakes coming into Kopp's corner, but no opportunity yet for Ashley Beard to capitalize on as he runs a little bit wide there coming through Kopp's. There's also a battle going on behind between Alex Everett and Benjamin Hackerson that we also could keep an eye on as well as further down the field. Russell Laidlaw embroiled in a battle as well, but this is the main one we're looking at right now as we're on the final lap right now. Can Ashley Beard make his way past and get on that second step?
It'd be a hell of an achievement if he does make it to second place in his first meeting here for the team, for Alpha Tech, in towards the final couple of corners here, and I don't think he's going to quite make it there. Pete Newman, unless he gets to run out this final corner, which he did last time out, but he's not going to do it. But a man who is getting a run through here is Colin Cunniff. Fantastic race there from him. Started second, and he's going to take the win here in this final round of the evening. Pete Newman is going to finish second, just ahead of Ashley Beard. And looking further down, and there's just a queue of cars. Nicole Foggy finishing up in 10th place, and well, just cars coming across the line here. And look at Sakovic and Richard Gore, and who was that? Josh Thompson as well. They came across practically 3 wide across the line there at the end. Everybody else going on. And the crucial thing here for the amateur standings is John Roberts still running? The answer is yes, but look at the state of his car. That car took a hell of a beating in that incident on the pit straight.
Yeah, that one is definitely going to be a write-off there for John Roberts, but as long as he can get towards the end of this lap, he will still be classified in the results and gain whatever remaining points there are left this far down the field as he runs his way through the left field and will come across the line eventually, as he actually does have the race leader coming behind him, so he was going to go a lap down, but he stays on the lead lap, crucially for his point situation, and well, limps across the line there.
Well, well done to keep that on track, that's for sure. But yeah, that rounds up the final race of the evening, and let's take you through then the final results then of the evening. It's Colin Cunniff who takes the win, 3.1 seconds ahead of Pete Newman in second, who just beats Ashley Beard across the line for third. Sven Glatzel and Alex Everett, the two teammates, fourth and fifth, with Benjamin Hackerson sixth. Michael Blake is seventh for Alfa Latek, with Scott Malcolm eighth. Wojciech Zmieniewicz ninth. Nicole Foggett rounds out your top 10. And then the rest of the field, Stephen Baxter 11th with Brian Holmes 12th, Matt Woodhouse 13th and Daniel Kraft 14th, Russell Laidler 15th with Alexander Smolenski in 16th place. Ashley Blake good to see him get a good solid result in 17th, with Ross McFarlane 18th, Andreas Katz 19th, Pete Harrod rounding out your top 20, only 16 seconds covering the top 20 there. Laura Bond 21st with David Baker only able to make it to 22nd, Selin Chepolewski 23rd with Max Wright 24th, Michael Hall 25th, Richard Gore 26th, Magic Sekovic 27th with Josh Thompson 28th, finishing enough a race there is Josh, that's good to see. Kip Stevens in 29th, and George Simmons rounding out the top 30, still less than 20 seconds between the top 30. Robert Graham 31st with Thorstein Helgson 32nd, Agnes McNally 33rd with Andrew Whitehead in 34th, Lee Berridge in 35th and Stuart Atkins in 36th, Nathan Davis 37th, John Roberts 38th with Lee Deemer 39th, and Dave Christie rounding up the top 40. He was 4 laps down. Jamie Ayres, Cesar Rizzo, Jake Blackall, Matthew Keeber and Daniel Hunt all not finishing that race. One thing we do want to look at, and we'll see if we can bring it up, and it is Ashley Beard's start, because that was crazy, shall we say. He got a fantastic start, and I'll just see if I can bring it up here on screen for you. Here we go then. Here's the start. He looks to the left, sees it as a load of grass pre and the grass, keeps on the grass, all four wheels on the grass, sees the tarmac, back on. I mean, how?
I think just how is the only word you can use to describe that. That was a brilliant start from Ashley Beard, but the thing is, the only point of criticism I have about that is he did step all four tyres outside the outside the white line there, but it's a small criticism considering he got what was basically 3 drivers on the start.
Absolutely. Well, I know that, Connery, you've got to head off, but before you get off, just, I know we were stepping in for Alexandra and Adam, but what did you make of this evening, and what's your overall thoughts of tonight?
It's just been absolutely brilliant racing up and down your field, just close racing, and more importantly, mostly clean racing, which we all like to see, of course. And I will admit, I've kind of missed it after competing in the BSR Kia World Series, and obviously eventually commentating on that series with Jake Sperry as well. But it's great to get some touring car action in now and again.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Connery. You've helped me out a lot today, and it was good to have you in the commentary booth. Tonight, what we will do then is we will bring in a couple of drivers to have a word with, and I think the first driver that we will have a word with then is going to be Scott Malcolm here in the commentary booth. Hello, Scott. It's strange to be on the other side for once, interviewing you, Scott.
Yeah, what are you doing there?
But yeah, just, well, we see there on the graphics 8th place in that final race, but talk us through the evening as a whole. How did that go for you?
Absolutely brilliant. 2 top 10s I got tonight, which makes a change. I thought it was absolutely brilliant racing. Second race I could have got a wee bit closer to the front. Kind of got a wee bump on off Lee and kind of knocked me out of stride, and I think Stephen and someone else managed to get by me, so I lost a couple of places that lap there. Apart from that, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Just got to work on my starts because I kind of messed that start up in the 4th race.
Well, yeah, we just saw the start of that 4th race there for you, and but overall, you know, 8th, as you say, a couple of top 10 results there for you. Must be looking good, and must be happy with that considering the championship, because we are heading on towards the showdown here at the end of the season. How do you see it going towards the end?
If you want to be perfectly honest, I think I've left it too late. I think a wee bit just too far behind to get that last spot in the showdown. Not got a chance to get the wild card. I've not got any wins or that, but I just think I've left it a wee bit too late now.
Yeah, in fact, what I can do for us here is bring up those standings just to show the amateur standings, because this was going into the week, and you, let's have a look, Scott Malcolm, 11th place in the amateur standings on 3,729, and I believe it's the top 6 in the amateurs, isn't it, that automatically go through, so there's a good 300 points, or just short of 300 points there, so good, keep the good results up though, and other drivers failing to get results, and you never know, keep pushing and you can still make it.
Well, I think Automech's motto is expect unexpected, so you never know.
Absolutely, and well, next week is Sonoma. What's your thoughts on that track?
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I better put the hours in for that one. I don't think I've ever really been on that track. If I can put in the amount of hours I put in for this track, then you never know. We'll see what happens.
And just before you get off, is there anyone you want to thank while you're in the commentary booth?
Nah, not really. Nah, only joke. Just Automech, East Kilbride and Knockout Racing Circuit for allowing us to have the name on the side of our cars and putting that with us, and obviously you guys for putting on such a great broadcast, and the rest of the drivers for putting up with me and putting on such a great show.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Scott. You were my first interview of the evening, so it can only go downhill from now, can't it? So but thanks a lot for joining us.
No bother, Paul.
Okay, so that was Scott Malcolm, and what we will do next is bring in a man who was battling away throughout these races, and it is none other than Lee Berridge. Lee, good evening, and talk us through your evening today.
Hello, mate. Yeah, no, tonight, do you know what? I cannot believe how well I did. I never expected that I was going to be racing today. I got text from the team this morning saying, please, can you stand in? I was, okay, yeah. And then I produced this. It's just, you know, no practice, and maybe that's how I should take it forwards.
Well, I mean, there is a thing of, you know, if you do too many laps around a track, you get you know, sort of apex blind and just become numb, don't you? So maybe just a fresh approach and just get in and drive, and well, it's worked out well for you this evening.
I think it has, because apparently, as myth would have it, I got the fastest lap in race 1. And race 2, I just started 15th and worked my way up to 4th. But I think in being so quick on -1 wing, I just blew the front tyres and Cats got me at the end. But I was having a ball out there, absolute ball.
Yeah, we're just looking at sort of like you from that final race. Talk about the battling in the pack then, because you had a few races where you were in with the pack. How was it around Silverstone National Circuit?
Do you know what? It's probably one of the better tracks. A lot of people, I think, tonight were moaning, saying, oh, thank God I've got this one out the way. But do you know what? As a track, it's fantastic for side-by-side action, because it's wide enough that you can run a little bit wide if you need to, and it won't spin you off. I think race 3, I think every single turn 1, I was side-by-side with somebody. It was so intense.
Well, you know, obviously you've stepped in this week. If you were to step in next week, it's Sonoma. What's your thoughts on that track?
Sonoma's evading my memory at the moment. I'd have to have a look. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be back next week. I kind of need the break from it for a little while. My schedule with other racing is starting to get a bit hectic. So, but you never know. Never know if I can produce this again.
Well, just finally then, as we see that contact that you had with the 48 car in that final race at Beckett's, just finally then, your final, who do you want to thank in this final part of the broadcast?
Well, I suppose I ought to thank the boys for enticing me back tonight. But yeah, obviously all our sponsors, Lux Liveries, True Essence, Pro Race, Dapper & Co, I think, is one of ours now. So yeah, no, great race. Great evening, great guys to race around.
Right, well, thank you very much for joining me. And if you want to pass the message on that if everybody in that interview waiting room thinks that they're going to get interviewed, they've got another thing coming, because some of us have got bed to go to. But thanks a lot for joining us, Lee.
No worries, mate. I'll see you tomorrow night.
I may not. No, I'm busy with another thing, but it's not Apex related, so we'll ignore that. But
No
anyway,
worries.
thanks a lot and take care.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, let's have a word with... do you know what? I'm going to have a word with the man who came into this week in 3rd place in the championship and is current reigning champion Wojciech Savinovic. And, well, talk us through that evening, that first race between you... Well, there was a few that you were involved with, George Simmons and a couple others, but you and Dave Baker, you were... not an inch was given and none taken.
Thank you, and thank you for having me in the interview room. Hello, everyone. And yeah, coming to the first race, starting in 4th, a bit maybe disappointed with quali, but I think it was kind of representative of my pace today, so I was kind of surprised that I managed to get into 2nd. And once I was against Dave, I really couldn't find anything on him. He was very, very fast today, and probably really just, way quicker than me.
And then, sort of looking at the rest of the races, you weren't really able to work your way through in that second race. Is that just the nature of the circuit of how difficult it is to actually finalise an overtaking manoeuvre around here?
Well, it's a little bit of everything, because race 2, you got good guys, fast guys ahead of you. If someone was like 15, 20th in the first race, he's definitely got a pace. He's not a slow poke. So trying to get from 26 into top 10, that's always a tough ask if there's so many quick guys ahead. And it's just at a certain point, you just decide you don't push and stay where you are. Just save the incident points, get an extra bonus for clean race, and hope for the race 3.
Well, just looking through, so the rest of your evening, then you're happy with how things went and how everything was for the rest of the evening.
Few mistakes in race 3, a bit disappointed with that, but yeah, still top 10. Kind of hoped for the podium. Race 4 went quite amazing. The car was, because of the weather, the car was totally different to drive, and I really loved it. So I got pace to push and actually managed to get another top 10, which I'm quite happy with.
And just before we let you go, Wojciech, anyone you want to thank while you're on the broadcast?
Ooh, that's a difficult question. Thank you to all my teammates and our sponsors. Obviously, Apex is also main broadcaster for the series. And yeah, thank you for having me in the interview room. I don't know. Hopefully that's going to be more often.
Absolutely. Well, all the best for the rest of the season, and I'll see you on track soon enough.
Cheers. Thanks. See you again.
So that was Wojciech Savinovic. I think I'm going to be trying something a little bit dodgy now. He's gone and disappeared. I was going to bring Russell Laidler in as well, but instead we've got championship contender David Baker now for a quick word. And David, just talk us through your evening. Race 1 victory, and then a bit difficult to get through the pack.
Yeah, race 1 was amazing. I'll just put that out there, to get pole and then survive the pressure from Wodge and George, who was amazing on the opening laps, was something else. I definitely had dry mouth, shaking legs and everything at the end of that one. And then, yeah, the other one's just trouble fighting through the pack. It's such a tight track round here, very quick lap, only 1 or 2 kind of real attacking zones, so just had to play the long game and hoped it worked out in the end.
Yes, I mean, we were just in awe of all the racing that was going on. Sort of, from your point of view, those reverse grid races, how difficult was it to make your way through those through the grid?
Third race was not too bad, because I think I used my tyres quite well in the hot weather. Second race was just all about keeping position and hoping for the reverse grid, really. And then race 4, a couple of bits of contact with cars put me a little bit further back down. The car felt excellent and really could have pushed forward like Dan Kraft did. But just, didn't quite hook it up when I needed to, and next thing you know, it's 4 wide in front of you and you just can't go anywhere. But it was proper pack racing tonight, really good fun, and it looks like we had some guys that don't normally get to shine who really did tonight, so that's all good.
And well, just looking forward then, 3 weeks left before the showdown starts. You know, how are you finding the championship battle? How are you finding it?
It's tough this year. I've been lucky to lead since the start, I think, but my gap's got smaller and smaller and smaller as the weeks have gone on. I know Wodge has got quite a lead going into the showdown points, so I've been trying to claw back a few on them, but if I finish the regular season as the #1 driver, I'll be absolutely amazed. That would be sort of what I, really kind of want, because anything can happen in the showdown. Somebody can spring from 10th to win it, because it's a bit more of a lottery, but yeah, we'll just see how it goes and sort of keep doing what we're doing, because it's obviously working.
And well, I've been asking everyone else, what's anyone you want to thank?
All the usual, the guys on the team, yourself, guys who normally do the broadcast but are luckily watching it in Germany now, hopefully getting a little bit drunk. Yeah, so just everybody that puts it all together, because when you get a night like tonight and some fantastic racing, it really is really, really good.
Thank you very much for joining me, Dave. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have just one more interview tonight, so I'll let you get off.
Choose your victim carefully.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to ask. Well, thanks. Anyway, I'll drop you down now. Let's just have a final word then with somebody who relatively new to the series. And Ashley, how's it going? How did you find it today?
It was a challenge to start off with. It was a massive challenge. I mean, the first race, I just got it all completely wrong and just screwed it really up, to be honest. And it was just trying to improve in the second, third, and fourth race.
Well, that fourth race, we saw you coming through, started 6th place, and were getting involved in battles, and you almost got 2nd place in the end.
Yeah, the start was quite entertaining with trying to overtake on the grass. I didn't think it was going to work. I just got such a momentum run coming off the start, and just thought, I'm just going to go for it. And there was a bit of a run-off on the side of the track, so it gave me a bit of grip to just get in front. Loved it.
Yeah, well, so your thoughts then for the evening? How did you find this round racing for Alphalatech?
It's getting there. It was a challenge to start off with, and then in the end, I think we're making steps. We're making improvements. So, come probably next week or the week after if I'm here. I should be on the pace. I'm hoping.
And before you get off, anyone you want to give a quick mention to, a quick shout out?
Well, I'd like to thank the guys in BSR, Kip, Shez, Michael for letting us come into Alphalatech, and all the guys in Alphalatech. It was a great meeting for us.
Well done, and fantastic result in that final round, especially Ashley Baird. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you very much. Take care, buddy.
And I've better look sharp because the boss has turned up, and all the way from Germany. Then Alex Simpson joining us now, and Alex, you were able to have an evening off. How did you find that today? Once he unmutes his microphone, he's not wanting to talk to me. That's what it is. Oh, Alex, are you there?
Mate, there we go.
There we go.
We got it working in the end. That was a good race, mate, and we all enjoyed it here. Well done. Thank you very much for working with us, Paul. We really, really appreciate it.
That's not a problem, but I don't know how you do it week on week, because that was absolutely crazy around there today.
Yeah, mental. It always is, isn't it? The national circuit. I know some of the drivers love it, some of them hate it. Yeah, no, it looked good from our point, just being able to sit back and and watch it for a change.
Well, we're heading towards the showdown then. This is the crucial part of the season that they're heading towards. What's been your thoughts then of the season? I'm putting you on the spot here, but thoughts for the season. What do you think of the showdown heading up towards?
It's going to be really, really close. I mean, I think same every year. Anybody can win it. Back of when it was Seb and Kat's having that little battle. Kat's come into that. He got in through the wild card spot, and he's there at the end. It was every year anybody can win, and I think that's the purpose of the showdown. So yeah, it's interested from a broadcast point of view, obviously from a neutral. So I just hope that we have some thrilling races in the end. From a team manager's point of view, go Apex!
Yeah, I don't agree with that sentiment personally, but
watch what booth you're in. Get out.
Well, you know, what's the plans for the weekend? Then you're in Germany for Sim Race Expo. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. Obviously, the first little group here, the guys from sort of Scotland and Ireland have just landed as well, so they're going to head up here then, and then Cheppy's coming up with his brother. Janowski's going to join us as well, so we've got a little bit of a BSR crew coming up here, so that's going to be good. And then a few others, so Antoine, his dad, and Lorenz are joining sort of over the weekend, so there's about 14 of us in villas here, so yeah, it's going to be good, it's going to be fun, and yeah, should be good.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, and thanks for letting me loose on the broadcast. And I hope not to make it a regular occurrence because I would like to be racing, but never mind. I wasn't going to be racing this week.
That did look like it had been a good one to have been involved in. Yeah, thank you again, Paul. I really, really do appreciate it.
That's not a problem. Well, what we'll do is we will finish off the broadcast with you today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here on Apex Racing TV and on iRacing Live. That has been the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship, Week 24 from Silverstone National. From everyone here, from myself, Paul Smith, from Conor Maddock, and all the guys at Apex as well. Thanks for having me here. It's been a thrill to do it, and exciting racing as always. And next week it is Sonoma, so make sure you check that one out. But until then, from everyone here at Apex Racing TV, it's goodbye.